Over the last 35 years or so, I have heard countless times teachers say, I just want kids to have fun in my classroom. I want them to enjoy being at school, which is great. But if that's the goal, let's hire clowns and rent bouncy castles because that's fun, right? Well, that's not really the point of schools. The point of schools is helping kids to develop their skills and their knowledge, master content, and at the same time grow up as decent humans, right? Their social and their personal skills. That's the goal, not having fun. But at the same time, we can have fun while we are doing that. And one thing kids like to do and they find fun is play games. So let's turn to AI to transform our content, knowledge, instruction into games that kids enjoy. All right, so here is what we're trying to teach. I selected a content standard. You may select a standard or a particular learning objective. Here I chose high school algebra, seeing structure and expressions, which sounds a little dry, honestly. Good stuff, but from an instructional standpoint, it can be a little bit dry. So let's see if we can get the AI to help us turn this into games, right? And you can choose whatever standard, whatever learning objectives you have, the process is going to be the same. I just chose that one because I wanted to see what the AI could do, frankly. All right, so there's my standard. Let's take a look at the first prompt. All right, prompt number 1. And they're all going to start the same with, you are a specialist in, here it's mathematics, you put in your content area, curriculum development and instruction, I need to teach my students. And here we drop in the specific content standard or the specific learning objective. Okay, so that's our boilerplate right there. Now, I would like to use a team game for students to learn this skill. Be creative, because we don't want to give kids the same type of thing they've probably seen before. Learning games tend to drop off in interest pretty quickly. So be creative, provide fun, uncommon games that I can use. And here we want appropriate for small groups and no more than 15 minutes each. So let's take this prompt right here and let's see what our AI can do with it. I will simply drop it in and say go. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me 5 or 6. Here it's 6 small group games for that particular learning objective. All right, and 15 minutes interpreting, etc. Okay, so there's my parameters up there, and now I've got my specific games. If one of these looks interesting to me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up. I may say, tell me more about this. Give me more explicit instructions. Tell me the rules of the game. Give me resources. Give me more sample problems or whatever I need. Increase the complexity level. Decrease the complexity level for students who are struggling. And whatever I need to make this game appropriate for my students because I'm trying to teach them content. Again, the point is not to play games and have fun. The point is to learn the content. So we will modify as needed. All right, so I've got a bunch here. That's great. Let's take a look now at the second strategy, the second prompt. And you'll see at the top again, all the same stuff, exactly the same. But here, creative and fun, uncommon, and we want single player games. Some kids like to participate in a group, some like to work on their own. And the fact of the matter is, we really do need both of those. When we do everything as a group activity, what tends to happen is a lot of the cognitive work, or much of the cognitive work, tends to center on certain students and not equally distributed. So we need a mix. We absolutely need a mix, not only for the learning needs, but also to make sure that every student has the chance to wrestle with the content and master it. All right, so single player games, here we want 5 levels to indicate student ability. This gives them a chance to map their own progress. And as you'll see, these games, the individual games, also work really, really well as a little formative assessment. Now here, we're using them for instructional, for learning purposes, but we could then come back and use them later as a way to gauge students' progress in our formative assessments. All right, so again, no more than 15 minutes each. Let's grab this. Let's turn it over to AI, and just for fun, let's see what we get. And I am going to guess this, that we're probably going to see one or more of these that are very much like the group games, but they're modified to be appropriate for individual learners. And frankly, we might give some kids in our class the group one and some the individual one. We may give them a choice. Not all kids learn the same way. All right. Avoiding common formats, because we've done that. Worksheets in disguise. That's what a lot of games look like, unfortunately. It really is just a worksheet, but we're pretending it's not. Okay. Expression escape pods, levels, etc., Alchemist, and so on. So we have a bunch of individual games now for helping kids to learn the content. And now let's turn to the third and final type of game. Hi, David Bowman here. If you are enjoying this video and these techniques, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, if you are a school administrator or a PD lead and you're looking for some support for your staff to make the most effective use of AI within the learning environment, feel free to give us a call or send us an email. We'd love to talk to you about how we can work together to make sure that your staff is using AI effectively to meet the learning needs of kids. Now, back to the video. Okay, so here is the third approach. Again, we have all the same boilerplate at the top, but we're going to do something quite a bit different here. We want to gamify the instruction, which is, if you think about, video games, for example, you advance in levels, you advance in ability, you get rewards along the way as you become stronger at your skills. So we want to gamify the instruction. We want small group competitions, we want achievement levels, and we want rewards along the way for accomplishing each level. So again, be creative, make them fun, gamify it, no more than 15. And here's something different, very different that we're doing for this one. We will play games for at least 3 class periods with a final challenge on day 4. Sometimes it takes longer than a particular class period or one day to learn a new skill. If we want to make sure kids are really mastering it, we have to give them the chance to attack the learning from multiple directions. And that's what this does right here, plus a final challenge. And then finally, an individual assessment. We often learn together so we can perform alone. So now we've got the chance for students to show off what have they learned through this process. We need an individual assessment. So this is our final approach right here. And I'll do this very, very quickly just to show you the breadth of the response that the AI gives us and the value of it. Okay, so thinking. Now, what have we got? A 4-day gamified instructional sequence. We've got the design features for all of these, short games, culminating, etc. All right. Progression moving from recognition to transformation to strategic use. So, as the students are going up levels, the challenges become harder, but we're preparing them for those harder challenges by the previous experiences. Overview of the system. Then, what are we going to do on day 1? What are we going to do on day 2? We've got resources and problems, and we've got how to play and the rules and so forth. And then we should come down finally to day 4, the final challenge. We'll call this the boss mob. All right, so there is day 4 challenge. And finally, now let's give kids a chance to show us what have they learned from the process. So there you go. There are 3 ways to turn content learning into games that kids will enjoy. I hope you found this useful. Take care.